Yes. You haven't heard that since Friday. You miss me, girl. I missed you. Yeah. It's lopsided on the left side. It's Balloon Party 101 ESPN. My name's Tim McKernan. It's unbelievable. 20 years for TMA on July 26th. What are y'all going to get me?
Oh, man. Is there a gift that's worthy of the accomplishment?
I don't know. I mean, the Hall of Fame is already inevitable. Right. I felt like that was inevitable, though, year 4.
Right.
So I don't know.
You're not really.
I guess a stepladder would be cool.
Right.
I think we're doing the hair transplants.
Well, we can get the leg transplants, too.
That's the gift.
Yeah, that's the gift. Turn you to 6'5".
Oh, my God. Can you imagine?
Turn you to 6'5", and it
I would
seamlessly.
have permanent bottle service at Napoli.
Standing table.
That's what I would do. Welcome in. Munganess makes this show possible. St. Louis Acura, Munganess, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota. It's 101 ESPN. We're on YouTube. People are in there. And Callus Coitus says Tim's as cute as a button.
Agreed.
Yeah. I agree with that, too. And that's Jackson Bennett Burkett, fresh off of a 3-day weekend. And what do you have here on a 3-day weekend? I mean, we've got so much going on here. I mean, you got the Doggies losing. You got the Battlehawks losing. The Cardinals win 2 from the Cubs, lose yesterday. Down to plus 600 to win the National League Central. I feel like I might need to fire that bullet now because it might keep dropping. There's only one team in the National League Central above 500, but the Cardinals are coming. Tra-la. What do you have for the people today, Jackson?
The Little Piddles holiday weekend wrap up.
Wow.
Yeah, a little extra day to wrap up. Plenty of sports this weekend, locally and nationally. And the Redbirds are certainly on the forefront of everyone's mind. 7-1 on the homestand, Tim. How do you do?
Unbelievable. I had the over-under 4.5, and I took the under.
Yeah, I think I was right there with you. So, although one game rained out, 7-1 on the rest of the homestand. I feel pretty good. One of the hottest teams in baseball since, May 12th?
Cardinals and the Guardians.
Yeah, so you got nothing to be too upset about. Paul Goldschmidt coming around a little bit with 3 straight home runs. The Cardinals, despite losing yesterday, are one of the hottest teams in the NL, and it seems like people are cautiously dipping their toes back into the Cardinals are coming caravan. What has been the difference in their first part of May to now that has led to more victories and more offense? Does it seem like Paul Goldschmidt is getting right? How about the poise of Mason Wynn to carry a 16-game hitting streak and a 2.2 WAR at this point in his MLB career?
There are a number of questions in there, so why don't we itemize them?
Sure. Has this team looked different over the last 2 weeks as opposed to the first 2 weeks of May when they were kind of 7-game losing streak, kind of flopping around? What have you seen if you could hyper-focus on one or two elements of the game?
I mean, it's offense.
Right.
It's kind of a boring answer and an obvious one, but that's it. And keep in mind, this is going on without Contreras healthy and without Arenado still really doing much. A couple of articles today where Arenado was very blunt in his assessment of how bad he's been playing, how it's not right. He says, I pull balls in the air, and I am not doing that right now and haven't done that. So if that can come back, then great. If Contreras can come back and be valuable, at the same time, Herrera was hitting cleanup yesterday, so it's not like the Cardinals are, in some kind of Cody McKay offensive catcher spot. So with that established, it's all about the offense. Mason Wynn, Donovan, Nootbaar, Burleson. I feel like I'm leaving somebody out with Goldschmidt in the home runs. I still feel like I'm leaving somebody out.
Siani's been pretty decent. Yeah, one of the best defensive center fielders in baseball. Bernie wrote a great article, as he often does, yesterday morning, talking about how, a lot of the offense has mostly come from homegrown guys you didn't acquire and trade. 6 guys who have started their careers in St. Louis and still play here.
That's correct. He wrote about Wynn, Burleson, Gorman, Nootbaar. Yeah, Gorman's who I was looking at. Nootbaar, Donovan, and Herrera. This is from scoopswithdannymac.com, by the way. Bernie Miklasz, 334 batting average over this 10-2 streak. This is before yesterday, for the record. 419 OBP, 522 slug, 941 OPS, 14 doubles and a triple, 9 home runs, 37 RBIs, 32 walks, 46 runs scored, 7 stolen bases. That would be super encouraging. And if that continues to trend over the course of the season, as weird as it may sound, because I think my idea for the upcoming, well, now the current season was different than a lot of people's in our listening audience. And I think around St. Louis, I didn't really have high hopes for the team. Thought they could win the Central, win in the 84 give or take range. That's where I had the Cardinals. But if you can have that to start, either way, I already feel like Mason Wynn's situation is a monster upgrade from what it was. I mean, I don't know how it could be a downgrade from what it was at the tail end of the season last year. But if you have Wynn, Burleson, who they were really high on, and then he came up last year and didn't do much. Gorman get it back, and he has over the last couple of weeks. Nootbaar, who's always been the analytics dream, but hadn't really converted on the field. Donovan, and then the Herrera thing could present an interesting little situation.
Yeah, because he's such a good hitter, but he is not a good defensive catcher.
So you got a weird spot there. And then if I can make one more request, and I don't know if I can. He's got a bobblehead coming up on June 6th, so you know he's going to be back in St. Louis by then. I mean, is that a 5-star play?
I think because it's a theme ticket, it's not like a first 25,000 get it. It's like a more specialty thing.
I asked you a simple question, and I don't want to waste the court's time here. Will Jordan Walker be back in St. Louis on the night of June 6th?
I wouldn't call it a 5-star lock, a 3-star lock.
You've released a 3-star play. A 3-star play.
3-star play, but I go on a system of 43 stars. So
43 stars?
Yeah.
3 stars is then like garbage.
Right, but it's still a star lock, you know. It's like the spice level at an Indian restaurant.
Spice Girls.
What's the difference
Who's
between
your favorite Spice Girl?
Posh?
Yeah, I agree with that.
The only one I can name right off the top. Sporty.
Yeah.
Is that Sporty Spice?
Right.
And then
Ginger Spice, Scary Spice, and Baby Spice. You got to do show prep before you come in here, buddy. Let's go. Let's get on this.
Yeah. And they would sing the tunes, right?
I don't understand the question.
That was what it wasn't like a TV show they were on. They were a singing group.
You didn't know that they were...
I was pretty confident, but not positive. They were right, but they were probably right before I was born. All I know is Posh from Marrying David Beckham.
That's right.
Ollie G show.
And he got hair transplants, and I didn't know that until recently.
Wearing this very exact Cardinal cap in that documentary. Weird for him to pick that, you know? Like the Boston Red Sox.
Well, it's a Navy cap.
Right, but the Boston Red Sox have a Navy cap, and it says B for Beckham.
So what he should wear...
I would.
Interesting. So why aren't you wearing B for Burkett?
Good question.
Yeah, tough question to answer based on that last premise.
Because I don't like the Boston Red Sox.
Nice.
I don't like the Boston Red Sox.
Maybe he doesn't like the Boston Red Sox. Maybe he loves the Cardinals.
Maybe he does. He should have. Well, we didn't have a team when he came to the Galaxy, but if we did, he would have come here.
Yeah, take this over Carson, California.
All day, every day. Miami,
let's see. Jordan Walker, for the record, is hitting .273 in Memphis. Still doesn't have a home run. 687 OPS.
That's not going to cut it.
Either way, bobblehead coming up on June 6th. They'll be back.
Yeah, it might be. Someone might go down with like a 10-day IL stint.
For the bobblehead.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a homestand featuring the Pirates and Rockies. You know.
Yeah.
If the boys wouldn't have turned it around, that thing could have been tumbleweed hitting people.
This homestand, going 7-1 on this homestand was massive for a variety of reasons. Obviously for their place in the standings, but for attendance, for the short term, massive. Massive.
Oh, man, the English.
You got it, Don.
The rain out on Friday night.
I was going to get to that. That was.
Is that a question?
It's the next question. But it also ties into the 5th starter spot.
I mean... And by the way, I want to tip my cap
off it
to the Cardinals because I believe it was strategic.
Yeah.
Strategic in every which way. Take
your pick.
Of
fronts.
Oh, I got a 4-front strategy.
Yeah.
You want to hear my 4 fronts?
I would love to hear the 4 fronts.
All right. Number 1, Bailey's.
That's right.
Assuming it was working on Friday night.
It was.
For Joe Buck's telecast with Chip Carey.
Yep.
Got that going. And I would have liked if they just would have, just like a podcast, those two guys talking.
Yeah, kind of was.
Then they went back to like a Tom Glavine interview and some guy trading baseball cards.
I did have that.
The hell was that about? But either way, that's what they did. But either way, okay, so you got that. So you get Joe and Chip, which was the best, just sitting there BSing.
That's great.
I mean, those guys could sit there and BS for 10 hours. I would have listened. That was wonderful. Rain it out, can't have it. Secondarily, you got people already down at the ball yard. Let's get a little concession revenue in here.
Yeah, we'll start at 7:55. I'll get another cold one.
Park Village, we're going to hang out down there.
Yeah.
By the Cardinals raining it out, Matthew Liberatore, he of relief fame from yesterday, therefore not starting in Cincinnati tomorrow. Believe it'll be Palante getting the ball. Got to skip over him.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Miles Michaelis is just playing catch. Imanaga for the Cubs, who would win the Cy Young right now. He gets warm for the game.
Throw the bullpen.
Throws the bullpen, and then they cancel it. And then he's not available to pitch the series. I mean, it was...
Yeah, pretty genius, honestly.
It is like, I just doff my cap. You dodged the best pitcher in the National League.
Yep.
And you got your money. You dodged Liberatore. Brilliant.
TV viewership through the roof, probably.
Got the revenue from a Friday night Cardinals Cubs. The guy I follow for daily fantasy sports weather, Kevin Roth is his name on the Twitter tweets. He's like, I don't know what they're doing in St. Louis. And it's not like he's in St. Louis. I think he's in Dallas. He goes, it's not going to rain for an hour, but they're not starting the game. So they got it in a delay. And then an hour later, he goes, okay, now they're saying they're going to start the game, but that's when the weather's going to start. I really don't know what they're doing in St. Louis. And then like a half hour later, I think they canceled it. And he goes, I have no idea what's going on in St. Louis tonight. Well, I just explained what was going on in St. Louis. Let's get rid of Imanaga.
Yep.
Let's get the concession revenue. Let's get rid of Liberatore. And let's let Joe Buck and Chip Carey have a little podcast for an hour on Bailey's, assuming the app was working. Yeah. There it is. Yeah. All the boxes were checked. Brilliant strategy.
Yeah, I echo what you're saying. At first, when I saw it, I was like, they're doing this so they can fade the Liberatore start tomorrow. I didn't think about the Imanaga thing until I read that Michaelis was just playing catch while Imanaga was really warming up and throwing a bullpen. I was like, that's weird, right? Like they're supposed to play. Why is he just playing catch? Makes sense.
Yep.
Makes some sense. And obviously
And the thing is, here's the thing, it's kind of like the Kenny Rogers. Why weren't the Cardinals coming after him in the 2006 World Series? Because they had guys doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure the Cubs are like,
respect.
We've played this game too.
Yeah.
We understand it.
Yeah.
It's always a little tougher there with more day games, but Friday night game can fade Imanaga. Sounds like a plan. Yep. Well played, boys.
Very well played.
Well played.
And then Saturday, you got like one of the most gorgeous days for baseball in recent memory. I mean, Saturday was perfect. It was perfect temperature and weather-wise. And Sunday, there was way more rain Sunday than there was Friday. Game got in Sunday, though. Yeah. 8:40 first pitch.
Well, ESPN. Sonny Gray, Assad.
Sonny Gray was dynamite. That Assad guy, man.
Oh, wow. Sounds like you want to hold him accountable.
No, he's weird. This is weird. This is different.
Well, he's going to join us at 10:30, so
it's going to get awkward. Yeah. Really. I like how he took his glasses off immediately after the inning.
And what do you like about that?
I thought it was as soon as he was done pitching, the glasses came right off.
So what are you trying to say?
No, I'm not saying. I'm not like alleging anything. Or anything. I just found that to be interesting.
Fair enough.
Quirky.
Text in with your thoughts, 314-399-9646, and the YouTube chat, active as the day is long. Looks like they're teaching each other how to get Bailey's.
It actually does need a lesson plan of some sort.
Maybe I should have a YouTube video.
So when they ask you to sign in for the second time, that's when you're almost home.
Oh, my goodness.
Pay no attention to the Mike Schilt interview that's just sitting there. Or the World Poker Tour thing going.
Yeah, the World Poker. Norm Stewart, sidelines. What a joke. Anyway, all right, we'll break. Jackson's got this Little Piddles holiday weekend wrap-up. This is Balloon Party 101 ESPN. Welcome back to Balloon Party 101 ESPN. Tim McKernan, Jackson Burkett with you here on the program. Jackson has the Little Piddles Weekend Wrap-Up Holiday Edition here, and you're welcome to participate in the YouTube chat and the Air Comfort Service. Text line 314-399-9646. Studio cameras for the YouTube broadcast brought to you by Air Alliance Team. Jackson, question 2, 3?
So we kind of touched on Friday's situation and the postponement, but I think it gets into the deeper question of the fifth starter issue. If they really want to compete, how imperative is it to find a long-term solution to the fifth starter spot and find it immediately? Because in a way, you could say, well, Steven Matz will come back, but you're really confident in the return of Steven Matz being the answer for the fifth starting spot. And if you really want to compete, can you not have somebody as a fifth starter?
Do you have somebody in mind?
Not in the organization right now, I do not.
No.
Oh, no. I mean,
So then it's like, well, what's
that's kind of what I'm asking is what is the move when you don't have somebody?
Well, the move is to tend to it on the front end, and the front end being the off season.
Right.
So they've boxed themselves in. Yeah. This is a spot because maybe I'll be off the mark on it. The Brewers are a 95+ win team. I just don't see it. I guess it could happen. I don't see it with the Brewers.
95+, no.
So therefore, if we're operating on the premise that perhaps 90 wins it,
yeah, I'd say that's about right.
Okay, then considering where the Cardinals are and 2 games under 500, and you're a third of the way through the season, the math dictates they're going to have to get on their generic horses here and play 10 games over 500 in each of the remaining thirds, if my math is correct. Yeah, 90 and 72. So that's not going to allow you to have the luxury of taking a ridiculous chance on what already has been Liberatore, what will be Palante. Problem is, who is going to trade you somebody of value when you're still in May or early June even for that spot? And then also the issue for the Cardinals, that's why I don't know, maybe it makes for, I don't really care what it makes for. It's what I think. So do with it what you want. It's the same thing with regard to Ali Marmol. I'm like, I don't know. I just don't think he's necessarily a bad manager. I don't think the roster is that great. So I realize people want him fired. I don't think Ali Marmol has figured out how to manage over the last 2 weeks.
No.
So with that said, my perspectives are more macro, but that doesn't necessarily make for take smithing. But my take is the Cardinals are in a spot in which there is so much to be done to tend to this year, but then there isn't a lot to offer from a currency standpoint inside the organization that's going to excite somebody to part with a starter this early in their season. Mm-hmm. Could it happen? Sure, but are you going to be overpaying in order to do it? Which is why this offseason and banking on what they banked on was irresponsible. So I don't know what the move would be. I guess what I would like, except he's still at AA, is Tink Hence.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's the direction that they would go, having a guy go from AA to a major league start. Right. And then where do you put him? The place I'd put him would be a Wednesday afternoon in late May in Cincinnati. Yeah. That's where I'd stick him. But at the same time, that's like the Camden Yards of the National League.
Yeah.
So it's a spot.
Yeah.
And they created this spot. So, they're in a real tough situation because another thing, and this is somewhat related to your question, to keep an eye on is Helsley didn't pitch on Thursday. They were off. Friday was a rain out. He came in Saturday night. Great win. But then on Sunday, if you noticed, Happ gets the home run. Then they start hitting him. He wasn't throwing fastballs. I think he threw 3.
Yeah, he wasn't throwing the heater.
And he only had thrown them back-to-back, and he hadn't pitched in a few days. So
he is weird about the 1-inning thing. And
well, what I'm saying is the reason why the Cardinals, in addition to the offense, have been able to stabilize is that they have this Kittredge, Romero, Helsley tandem, kind of reminiscent of what the Royals had about a decade ago. That if you got the game to the 7th inning, you were in a really, really good spot if you were the Kansas City Royals then. Keep an eye on that part as well with
man,
with Helsley there because he's been incredible. for the Cardinals. I mean, it's been
So is
absolutely
Romero.
great.
Man, Romero's special.
So I don't know what like a realistic solution, like how it would actually be implemented by the organization. It's just not the way things are usually done. Now it can happen, but it's a hell of a spot because every fifth day you got, who are you going with? Liberatore, Palante? I just don't know if they would move Hintz from where he is now.
It seems like an
to the
old
major
school
leagues.
move. Now it seems like they want to get guys AAA. And you look around the league, my father just texted me, matter of fact, Ronald Acuna's out for the rest of the year. The Braves might be looking for an outfield. The problem is they also had Spencer Strider, their ace, Cy Young candidate, out for the season early. So they're hurting for pitching too. Pitchers are getting hurt left and right. So a lot of teams are out there looking for pitchers. And it might just not be there. And like you said, you're probably going to have to overpay. You're going to have to leverage yourself with prospects. And we've seen the Cardinals do that time and time again. And it's just not worked out.
Yeah, how great would it be? And again, who knows if he wanted to come here? Maybe he didn't. I don't know. But as the market moved downward for Jordan Montgomery, for example, and how would that change your opinion of where things are?
It's a two-starter.
And in addition to, then you go into, if the Cardinals do get in the postseason, it's just very rare that you see a team with one, especially in this format, because they basically had one pitcher the last time they won a World Series, one starter you could count on.
Yeah.
But otherwise, La Russa really, I think, ushered in the era of bringing in the bullpen super early in October of 2011. This team may have the bullpen to do it if these guys can stay healthy with the workload. But, as far as a two-starter goes, who do you really feel great about at this moment? Then you have the negative of the fifth starter. But with that all established, I mean, the same rotation kept the Orioles, one of the best offenses, I think, who've rattled 5 off in a row after leaving St. Louis, in check. So it's just a shame because the answer to the question is already, the ship has sailed. Right. Most likely, unless there is somebody that they bring up from the minors who kills it. And I don't know who that would be because I just don't think they would bring up Tink Hence.
No.
Reverse.
Yeah, but I just think they're also gun shy too, based on what they've had with other young pitchers and bringing them up too early.
The Oviedo issue.
Yeah, and I think that they're right or wrong. You can litigate that till you're blue in the face, but I think at a certain point, if it continues, if it persists, and you're not getting good bullpen starts and you're hurting your bullpen, Palante's not working out, clearly Liberatore's had issues, I think bringing up someone like Roberto is a good idea. Just give it a shot. I mean, you got to have a little trust that these guys are mentally tough enough to take a bad outing in their first, second, or third MLB start. Happens to a lot of guys. Most guys get shelled in the early part of their career. Takes a little bit of that.
Your thoughts on the topic are welcome. What would you like to see the Cardinals do with it? 314-399-9646, Air Comfort Service. Text line, the YouTube chat. Active as the day is long. Droid Effects and coaches John and Dean Ellis are talking it over. This is Balloon Party on 101 ESPN.
This is Action Jackson with a SportsCenter update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Cardinals lose yesterday, final score of 3-1 to Cincinnati. They'll take on the Reds again tonight. 5:40 the first pitch. Kyle Gibson on the mound for the Redbirds. And last night, the Celtics defeated the Pacers 105-102. Boston clean sweeps the series, and they advance to their second NBA Finals in 3 years. That was another SportsCenter update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Welcome back, 101 ESPN. Tim McKernan with you to the top of the hour. Jackson Bennett Burkett has his Little Piddles holiday weekend wrap-up, and you're welcome to participate in the show by texting in the Air Comfort Service text line 314-399-9646, or by watching the YouTube chat and the group chat as Tiny Pee-Pee is talking it over in there. And it's just fun to be able to interact with somebody of Tiny Pee-Pee's prowess.
I would agree. I think it is like a little group chat, like people getting together. They send and sometimes it gets right on the air, and it's kind of nice.
Yeah,
it's like a public group chat.
Like Droid Effects is in there.
And anyone can join. Don't feel intimidated by some of these stalwarts.
Yeah.
Some of these people who have been there forever.
Right.
They're very accepting.
Yeah, they're welcoming. They really are.
So.
It's fun to watch them be really, really kind to the newcomers. So go on in there and get to know Tiny Pee-Pee and Droid Effects and coaches John and Dean Ellis. Jackson, do you have a third or fourth nurse?
I do, Tim. I'm going to fade this Cardinals defensive issue question I have because I feel like we've talking all Redbirds all the time, and there's plenty going around in the world of sport, including looking around at the dual playoffs going on the ice and the hardwood. Boston has already secured their spot in the East, and Dallas has to avoid the never-been-done-before 3-0 comeback, and seems like we're all set there. Meanwhile, the ice hockey is having much more of a competitive series tandem with New York and Dallas currently in control. Which playoffs have you more interested at the moment, and who do you see coming out of each side of the NHL playoffs?
NHL, no question about it. I think even, I don't know about you. No, not you.
Not a chance.
But most people who are paying attention to both.
In the 7 games we've seen in the both conference finals of the NBA, they've been competitive games. They've been won by Dallas and Boston.
Right.
They've been good games.
But this isn't, you can't tell me this is good. You're not going to spin this. Come on.
I'm not going to it's going to be a great finals matchup.
I hope so.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really good.
Tatum lost in 6 and 22.
Yeah, to Golden State.
Right.
But this is a different animal. I think that there's secretly been a Luka-Tatum rivalry, as they're both about the same age and both very prolific. And now we get to see it on the grand stage, and I think that's awesome. Mm-hmm. But I would also agree that the NHL playoffs have been much more competitive, especially in the conference finals.
Yeah, you've got some blown leads all over the conference finals so far. In the case of the Rangers, they were able to come back despite blowing the lead. And last night, Edmonton scores 2 in the first 7 minutes, but then they wind up losing 3-3 game going into the third, and the Stars win it, and then they get an empty netter. I'm really wanting this Edmonton-New York Stanley Cup final. Am I off the mark on the, especially, I mean, you're a perfect case for this discussion, Jackson.
Yeah, definitely.
Somebody who's acknowledged that you're not a big hockey fan. Uh-huh. But if you have the Rome of the 21st century and their beloved blue shirts going up against the best player, or one of the best players in the NHL for the Stanley Cup final, the small town of Edmonton going up against New York, a Canadian market trying to hoist the chalice for the first time in 3 decades against New York City. And not the Devils or the Islanders, but the blue shirts, the Rangers.
MSG.
I don't know if you could ask for anything more for the game of hockey at this particular moment to bring in the casual fan. I'm always talking about the casual fan. That's where I am. That's what I think is most appealing. I don't think Dallas carries that for the casual fan to get McDavid more attention. That's what I would like to see.
Couldn't agree more, Tim.
Okay.
If you're someone like me, like if we're being honest, like a Dallas, Florida or Dallas, New York Stanley Cup final doesn't really move the needle for me.
And that's because you don't like teams from the United States.
Despise them. Despite even the Matthew Tkachuk element for the Panthers. Like, if you're going to try to get me, and there's more people like me than some would like to think, is
I'm one of those people.
Don't hurt your hands trying to get to your phone quick enough to text in. I'm just saying,
314-3999.
just saying, there's a lot of people out there who know about hockey but don't necessarily watch all the time. And if you're trying to get people in, having the best, one of the best, if not the best player in the NHL who plays in a very small market, not in America, up against the biggest market team that you could have in the New York Rangers, I think it would be perfect. I think it's a great way to get more casual fans into hockey and to bring Connor McDavid's profile from everyone in hockey knows he's the best to everybody in the country, everybody in the world knows he's the best.
And that's why last night I was disappointed.
Yeah, and I think it's warranted. I think that if you're the NHL, you're really hoping that the Oilers make a comeback here.
I need the Oil to get tomorrow night. Yeah. I need the Oil to get. I mean, they got the fire under their asses, and they were in the conference final the year that Kadri ran Bennington 22. Just didn't go real well against the Avalanche. Get tomorrow night, Jackson, if you could. Make sure we got a Game 6 in Alberta, and maybe the boys can rattle off 3 in a row, and then head to the Garden.
Yeah,
and then a Game 7 at Madison Square Garden with Connor McDavid and the New York Rangers.
You couldn't.
Draisaitl, your guy, Draisaitl, you're a big Draisaitl guy.
Always have been, yeah. I think he said to a reporter, "Are you trying to get into a pissing match?"
That's right. He was on, so what'd your grandma think?
He was. It might have been one of the
John
first.
Scores just announced the Oilers aren't winning.
Okay, that's via John Scores. So we'll take it with a grain of salt, but we appreciate.
I respect John Scores' opinion. As a matter of fact, I might go wager now on the Stars.
I won't.
Fair enough.
But if I were the coach of the Oilers, I would tell them you're going to want to play a 200-foot game.
Oh,
you're going to make your shifts count. That's what I would say. Is no wasted shifts.
Nice. This is like Herb Brooks.
Hockey players take shifts, so make sure you're working on those shifts.
Hold on a second. I want to make sure I understand that. Hockey players take shifts?
Yeah, about 45 seconds apiece. Just working like the Dickens, 45 seconds, and they come off. Sometimes they use the little gate. Sometimes they just hop over, and I like that. I will say that I love the on-the-fly substitution. I think that's a cool element of the game. I also like that hockey is kind of philosophical, kind of like the Stanley Cup is like this, like there's a lot of folklore. Like it's like this like magical thing. You don't touch it until you've won it. You have a lot of respect for it. I really do like that a lot.
Yeah.
I like the philosophical element of hockey. The kind of karma. It's similar to baseball in that way, where there's kind of like, yes, this is silly, but this is how we do it, and it's kind of like the folklore to it. And I like that. I like that a lot.
John Gray confirms John Scores' report that the Oilers will not win.
Okay. Credit us, I guess, because it was said on our airwaves.
Soup is not happy with, I don't know if he's not happy with you or me or just the show in general. Okay. This show is Tim's personal echo chamber. It'd be nice if Jackson had a contrarian take on any topic. That's from Soup. Is that Jeff Suppan, number 37?
He was number 37. Hell of an appearance in Game 7 of the NLCS in 06.
And 04.
I don't remember that one.
He faced off with Roger Clemens. Scott Rowland made the building shake back-to-back nights.
I forget that Rocket was on Houston.
Got himself Game 7 start against Suppan. After the Astros were on the verge of clinching that pennant at Busch Stadium. And then Jim Edmonds off of Dan Maselli. Oh, my goodness. How do you do? The ball has gone over the wall.
How do you do? He went Yankees, then Astros immediately following, right? He was with the Yankees and then went to the Astros. So I feel confident in that. Either way, to the person about the echo chamber, I just disagree with Tim that he's like, oh, I think the hockey playoffs are way more interesting. Wrong. I think that the NBA playoffs are 10 times more interesting.
Well, I mean, it was in this moment, that was the question.
Yeah, and I stand by.
Even basketball fans are like, this kind of sucks. The Celtics swept them, but
they were competitive games. Like Indiana should have won. If the games were 45 minutes apiece, Indiana would have swept the series.
Somebody's going to text in about their aunt and uncle.
Yeah, I get that. But it was still like competitive games. Like if the games are all blowouts and they're sweeps, yeah, I would agree with you. But
how about this
from
Courtney Alexander? This is the year for Dallas to have the sports trifecta, a championship in the NBA, NHL, and NFL. And don't forget they have the defending world champions in Major League Baseball.
Yeah,
Could they get them all?
In a calendar year, they could get 3 by end of June.
It'd be like the Tiger Slam.
It would be.
Not that World Series from 23.
Yeah, I don't think the Cowboys will be raising Lombardi's trophy
Are you doing the Stephen A. Smith thing?
No, I don't have a lot of faith in the Cowboys. They also play in a tough division. But either way, God bless them. Jerry had nothing to do with the Rams leaving.
Chairman Kurt in the YouTube chat says Tim would have to be wrong for Jackson to push back, and that's probably not going to happen. It's a great point.
It's true. It's true. I do see that complaint a lot, that I'm like I'm an echo chamber. If I agree with an opinion, I will say I agree.
Anytime, you want me to explain broadcasting to you real quickly?
Yes.
What a treat for the audience here, for me to come down to their level.
Yeah.
Does that come off wrong?
Not if it's the truth.
Anytime you have a quote-unquote two-person show, but there's a quote-unquote A and a B, so to speak.
Right, I'm the A.
Right.
Thank you.
But let's just, for the sake of the conversation, say I am.
Okay, all right.
Whoever is the B is automatically accused of being the lapdog.
Yeah, or power contrarian that disagrees with everything, and it's like...
Does that go on, though?
And it's like rehearsed. Like,
you have that?
Yeah. Like I remember.
Okay, give me an example of that.
When Max Kellerman was on First Take, and what a magical run that was.
I didn't get a chance to watch it as much as I would have liked.
Oh, he liked Andre Iguodala if the Martians were pointing the death beam at us. Wild. And he would, like, it always seemed like no matter what Stephen A. said, Kellerman would be on the opposite end.
But I mean, if we're going to be honest, those gentlemen are acting.
Correct. So you can either be the yes man or you can be the actor.
But like Colin Cowherd's guy now, I don't know.
The person who sits 100 feet below him and 100 feet away. He's like sits like a pharmacist up top.
You're only below me because of the phone books I'm sitting on.
Right.
Just to be able to peek up at the camera. Just so like a little top of one side of my head is on camera.
Right. If I were to be much lower, I'd be in the ground.
But that's correct. But that's a height issue on my part, which is your fault.
Right.
So whoever is in the non-head, like this initially was called, I don't know what they call it now, Balloon Party with Tim McKernan.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you're on the billboard or not.
I'm on some of the imaging.
There you go.
But
so then it's like I'm the A guy, and then whoever's with me then gets accused of being like, as if we prep for this. As if I've prepped in 25 years. Oh, that makes you lazy. No, that just makes me really good. So, Jackson, I don't think you're my Slappy.
Yeah, you're Ed McMahon.
Right, Hank Kingsley.
Yeah, I'd love to be your. I'd be your Hank Kingsley every day. I'm more of your Rip Torn.
Yeah, Arthur.
Yeah, I'm more of your Rip Torn. Who I always say I don't drink as many salty dogs.
Salty dogs.
That sounds just like an awful way to enjoy a beverage. Is vodka, grape juice, and a lot of salt, or grapefruit juice. That's awful. It's so bitter. Ugh.
Don't you come after Rip Torn.
I never will.
Show.
I never will. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
We'll take a commercial break, come back with more insults directed at both of us. This is Balloon Party, 101 ESPN. Well, let me tell you what happened yesterday. I see that James Carlton. And he goes, why? It's a holiday. Got 20 claims already for hail damage. And I said, uh-oh, is that a busy day? He goes, no, they're kind of open and shut. And because you can see it. It's very crystal clear. Well, both my car and my wife's car were outside during that storm on Sunday. And my goodness, did our cars get damaged. That was unbelievable. That's a storm that'll stand out in my memory. So if you got hail damage, you need to get that taken care of. And I went online this morning before coming into Hubbard Radio St. Louis, and I filed claims for both my car and my wife's car because both were hit hard. And it took me, I think, about 3 minutes for each vehicle. That's how simple it was. And since I work with James Carlton, I know it is going to go very smoothly. That's why it's great to be working with the best. And the best is James Carlton. CarltonInsurance.net. Or if you'd like to call 314-961-4800, James Carlton, the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency. Yeah. Yeah. Jackson, it's balloon party.
It is.
We got 9 minutes left. Josh Ennis is going to join me and you tomorrow. And
It's
then
going to be fun.
I am off on Thursday and Friday, and that means you are off on Thursday and Friday because you are my echo chamber?
Yes. Yep. I am.
So you have to go with me to the event in which I'm playing to make sure that you echo. Like if I hit a bad shot, you go, oh, no, that was a good shot, Tim.
I'm like Mr. Smithers. I'm just always around, ready to drop a ball right in the green. Yeah, I walk around with a fiddle next to me, and I just I have your like intro music going, and yeah, I make sure that everything's good.
You know what my intro is?
Amadeus, Rock Me Amadeus.
Used to be. I actually switched to Kim Carnes and Betty Davis Eyes.
Okay, well, I'll learn that tonight and be ready to go.
81 or 80?
What's the name
I'm
of
going
the
to go
tune?
81, and that gets me 80 and 82. And honestly, you don't even need to waste the time to look it up. We're working at that level at this point now.
What's the name of the tune?
Betty Davis Eyes, you've heard it. Probably at a stag bar, be honest with you.
Don't go to a lot, to be honest with you.
Yeah, three-bet it. Just for the sake of three-betting it.
1981.
Yeah, that's what we do here. We get songs that are 40 years old, right? Jackson, do you have any other questions on this Little Piddles holiday weekend wrap-up?
I do. I have two kind of quick hitters, and I think that's actually perfect given the time. I think we'll be able to get to both of these quick hitters.
Nice. All right, what do we got then? I like a quick hitter.
Yeah, this one, both are a little bit not sad necessarily, but yeah. Bill Walton was an absolute legend that I want to spend a second on, arguably one of the greatest college basketball players ever.
Hey, look at me. You're a prince.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have to rush through this.
No, of course.
Bill Walton transcended the association.
The greatest, man. I mean, I just want to spend a second on the question I want to spend a little more time on. Bill Walton was an absolute legend that I want to spend a second on. Arguably one of the greatest college basketball players ever. His pro career was derailed by injury. However, he refused to have his legacy to be defined by his game. His personality as a broadcaster and as a person made him immortal. And while his journey through the cosmos has ended, I imagine his life will be remembered forever. Turning this to sports media, do you think eccentric and unique personalities like Walton will become more in vogue with younger folks being on broadcast teams and trying to find their flavor? Or do you think traditional will remain the status quo?
Oh, absolutely, the former. That stuff's over. And I think it's great.
Yeah.
Personality-driven
Right.
and accepted it's already where it is. I mean, if you want to make any money.
Right. Like I would watch.
I would still recommend a different major than journalism or communications, but nonetheless, yeah, I mean, that's the game.
Yeah, I would
mean,
watch.
you can appeal to like, point X% of the audience by, hey, let's break down the second period now. But, yeah, that stuff's over.
Yeah.
Good night.
I would watch Pac-12 games solely to watch Bill Walton do broadcasting with Dave Pasch. Like those two are dynamic, and honestly, like there's very few things out there I would watch for the broadcasters. NBA game on TNT, I'm watching so I can watch the halftime show. Pac-12 basketball game, I'm probably going to watch because I want to see what Bill Walton has to say and what ridiculous hijinks he gets into. And to be honest with you, most regular season sports get kind of boring in a way. I mean, you have 162 baseball games, 80 plus basketball and hockey games. If you have someone who's got a little bit more flavor to them, a little bit more of a unique personality, I think it's just great. And I think
but here's my disclaimer on that.
All right.
It's got to be, to me anyway, organic. Like the personality works if it's the personality. That was who Bill Walton was.
Practice what he preached.
Amen. Same thing with Barkley.
Yeah.
That's who he is. And Shaq, and of course, Kenny the Jet and Ernie Johnson. They all have that chemistry. So it just, okay, the red light's on. We're going to go. But during the commercial break, they were probably doing the same crap, just with probably profanity,
Yeah.
So you can't have some guy like turning into a character.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then to me, I don't want to say younger people see through it, but I feel like that might be more the direction.
Right. And
if it's just like hollow and this guy's doing an act.
Yeah.
Screaming for the sake of screaming, thrown in, I don't know, just doing like a shtick.
Right.
Shtick ain't it.
No, and you get kind of like it's more believable when it's a former athlete who's a little bit more eccentric. Like if you're coming out of nowhere as a broadcaster and you can have your little quirks. Like Vin Scully had a ton of quirks. His ability to tell a story while also
so good.
keeping the broadcast going is unparalleled and unmatched and probably will never be matched. But like to be like Bill Walton, like you kind of have to be, people have to know who you are beforehand. Charles Barkley, another. And those are two all-time greats. I mean, absolute studs. Orlovsky, on the other hand, is kind of...
Oh, you come after Dan Orlovsky, you're going to have to come through me.
Is kind of known for running out of the back of the end zone when he was the quarterback for the Lions, and that's kind of where it starts and stops. That's kind of why I think people see more through it, because it's like you didn't have a great career playing the NFL. You played in the NFL, so you've already beaten 99.99% of all athletes out there. However, you didn't have a great career. Now you're kind of coming on as like the weird, quirky guy on these panel shows where you yell about stuff. Doesn't necessarily work as well.
Well, I would really hope that they edit this part out for the Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers podcast, because I will not stand for that. You go after Orlovsky.
He is great, but,
What's your second quick hitter?
Not a fun quick hitter, but an interesting one nonetheless. Ronald Acuna Jr. will miss the rest of the season with the torn ACL.
And I don't feel like it's getting that much attention relative to how big of a deal it is.
Yeah, this is huge.
I was watching SportsCenter, and when was it? It was 2 days. That happened 2 days ago, right?
I think I saw it yesterday.
Oh, am I off the mark on that? Well, either way. Well, okay, whatever. I was watching SportsCenter, I'm like, man, they kind of buried that. Mm-hmm. But it also speaks to baseball's place at the moment in the national landscape.
100%.
Because if the MVP from the association or the NFL was done for the year, it's the lead.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I was just like, man, this is a monster deal. Yeah, it was a day game. He was, I don't know, so it could have been Sunday too.
Now the Braves have lost Acuna and Strider. They're probably their two best players.
And they're well back of the Phillies in the East as it is. Mm-hmm. So, that's brutal, man. That's brutal.
Yep. Massive blow for the young superstar and the Atlanta fan base. Since 2000, what has been the most devastating injury for an athlete in terms of trajectory alterations for the team? Obviously, something like Bowmeister was the scariest, but I'm talking about changing the course of a team in St. Louis since 2000.
Injury.
Yep.
Cardinal, Ram, Blue.
I'm going to say something that I anticipate will be met with the immediate, get out of here, you pale loser. Anytime Sam Bradford went down was a massive blow to the Rams. Massive blow. Because they were already bad, and you take arguably your best offensive player and sit them down on the shelf for a whole year, just compounding. And they never had good backups. So
does it alter the season or alter the career or alter the team?
Alter the team, let's say, for that season.
I mean, Wainwright had Tommy John in 2011.
Yeah, but that's tough to be like.
But then they went on and they won the World Series. So
right.
It's insane.
That's where my first thought went, was like Waino. And then I also thought there might be a hockey obvious one that I was unaware of.
Texted in Vin Scully was the worst. It's awesome.
Good take. Sick. Take that to Twitter.
People are texting in Oscar Tavares. Yeah, I think when he said injured.
It's a little bit different.
But they're mad at you for the question.
A plus from the text inbox so far.
Jordan Bennington.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, that's the answer. That completely changed.
That's it.
Yep, that's the answer.
Tip of the cap. Maybe a bunch of people texted in, but the 618 is where I saw it.
Yeah, that's the answer.
Bobby Bonilla's injury leading to Albert Pujols. That's a nice take.
That's the opposite of where I was thinking, but that's a great talk about team altering. I mean, that's the probably.
Oh my goodness!
Wow. All right. What a 180 from the text line.
Yeah, you were about to lay into the text inbox. I mean, you went after Orlovsky in the text inbox, and I just wasn't going to have it.
Yeah. Well,
Kurt Warner's thumb, that happened in Kansas City in October of 2000. That is a nice play as well. That's in the YouTube chat.
Yeah, and that player trajectory doesn't know where he was.
Marshy Stash is in the YouTube chat saying you're doing engagement farming.
Am I? I don't know. I'm just kind of write stuff down, then say it. I don't know. I don't really put much
Trent Green happened in '99.
Yeah, it doesn't count.
Trent Green would be a nice play.
I put the since 2000 because I thought the Kurt Warner thing was like one of the bigger ones, and I wanted to exclude that for more
Carpenter getting hurt for the 2004 World Series, a nice sneaker play. I agree with that.
We almost had in 2011 when he dove on the first base to get an out in the first inning.
2011 World Series, yeah. But the 2004, I think he hurt his oblique in September or something like that.
Yeah, that changed
and that rotation was just, I mean, for as great as that offense was, man, I'm telling you, this is kind of like if my aunt and uncle thing again, but the Carpenter Wainwright 2009, And then with the 2004 lineup, oh my goodness, I think it breaks a regular season record for wins.
Yeah, it probably takes home the hardware after the season.
Absolutely. All right, Jackson, we got to go. BK and Ferrari are coming up next for Jackson Burkett. I'm Tim McKernan. This has been Balloon Party on 101 ESPN. Munganess, St. Louis Acura, Munganess, Burkhardt, Alton, Toyota, they got a deal. They got a deal for our audience. Now, this is on TMA, but we're bringing it over to Balloon Party, and here's the deal. You want a brand new car? A 2024 Acura